guess we're about to find out.
Yeah.
We have a few gals that are joining us from out of state, out of town, a little bit too far to drive, so they're gonna join us online. Let's see if looks like it's working. Hi! Hello! Welcome! You are trying my grandpa's recipe
Try the cake.
that used to be super toxic and unhealthy, and I changed about 90% of the ingredients.
It's gluten-free?
No, it's made with spelt.
Nice.
Wow.
Spelt is a clean grain, but it still has gluten.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
buckwheat. That's gluten-free.
Yeah.
Buckwheat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lost 7 pounds. I'll do what I'm
Woohoo!
doing.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
It tastes like honey cake almost.
Does it? A little bit, huh?
Honey cake, pumpkin, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. Okay. You tell me at the end, and then you can guess the ingredients. Okay. So let's start. So we are having our first official inaugural weekly women's shir here at Orot, and I'm so grateful that all of you are here to join us. And this is, I just want to say, a collective effort. So obviously, with anything in life, whatever we put into it determines what we get out of it. But this even more so, because based on what we're talking about, the questions we're going to ask, the input that you're going to give, that's really going to dictate the direction that we take this share together. So the very informal, loose title of this weekly share is how to tap into your infinite powers as a Jewish woman. And obviously the world is not easy right now for anyone. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your nationality or your background, there is just so much going on in the world. It's a very, very heavy place. Of course, whatever you are looking for is what you're gonna find and what you're gonna get. But I think one of the things that we are missing is that as Jewish women, we actually carry deep within us the power to change the world, the whole world. The whole big universe and also our little individual world. But the problem is that we just don't understand this power. We've really bought into the lie that we are just like everyone else. And so we walk around with these untapped powers lying completely dormant within us. So I want to ask you something. In what areas of life would you say that you struggle most on a daily basis? You don't have to get too personal, you don't have to share deep, dark secrets, but just in your daily life, what do you find that you struggle with the most? What are some examples?
Stress.
Stress? Okay, good.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Come on in.
Sorry for the late.
That's okay, come join us. So we're just talking about the areas of life that we struggle with the most. The first thing that came up was stress.
Okay.
Okay, it's good.
Okay.
Yes.
You're all caught up. What else would you say you struggle with?
So what is the topic? How
In your daily life, just as a woman, as a Jewish woman, doesn't matter what it is. What do you just with your daily life? What do you struggle with the most?
I have.
Okay.
Okay, when you get to age,
Okay.
that you see all your friends get married, have
Ah,
children,
okay.
and you're just like, okay, I don't have nothing.
Okay.
I really don't have
Clothes,
nothing.
a lot of clothes.
Okay.
I just have a lot of clothes. Except the clothes, nothing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's make me nervous,
Okay.
to ask myself why, like,
Yeah.
what wrong with me,
Okay.
what I'm not doing good,
Okay.
what I need to change, and you have a lot of questions.
Okay. So she's asking, why am I not married yet? Or why all my friends are at these other phases of life? And why not me? Where should I be? What's wrong with me? Very valid feelings.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
People. I like people, but sometimes I don't like them.
Yes. Okay. People. Absolutely.
I think everybody has
Yeah.
that issue. No,
Yeah,
like you
with
like
people.
people, but there's sometimes like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So difficult people.
Yeah.
Difficult relationships.
Kids.
Kids, absolutely.
Don't have yet, but
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't have kids, but the other day I heard a woman said, before everybody judge me, I love my kids, but sometimes I don't like them. Like, okay.
Fair. Yep. And how about
I think for me is balance.
balance? Okay. How about money?
Money for sure.
Okay.
Money is
I
one
want
of
money
the
that
best.
comes from heaven. I don't
Yeah.
see it.
Money is the best part, the first problem.
Yep. Okay. How about? I guess stress would be the opposite of peace.
Yes.
So definitely having a lack of feeling,
Maybe questioning
Peaceful.
yourself.
questioning yourself, doubt.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
Self doubt.
Yeah, I think for me it's like no matter like how high is my goal is,
Yeah.
I get there and then like right away I put myself down.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
like on the stupidest thing,
Yeah.
like I did all of that, but like there's one thing and I would eat
Yeah.
myself alive.
Yes. So self-critic.
Self-critic.
Yes. Self-criticism, self-loathing, self-sabotage, all those things that we have a tendency to do. You know, 90% of the battle is in the mind. We're creating this story and this storyline that keeps repeating itself in our life
But
over
isn't it
and
like
over
the key
and over
for
again.
success to change?
Sure, absolutely. That's it. 90% of the victory.
Because
Right.
you don't feel comfortable?
Well, so it's about that's a whole journey, right? Is figuring out why am I thinking this way? And that's actually where we're going today. And so I want to tell you that 12 years ago, I found out I was Jewish. So that's a whole different story for a different day. But I grew up as a Southern Baptist preacher's kid in small town Texas. And fast forward 12 years ago, by this crazy, crazy journey, I found out that I was Jewish. And up until then, I lived a fairly successful life by the world standards. I was already a very big fan of personal growth, personal development, personal empowerment. So when I started learning about God's chosen people, you know, who were tasked with the job of being the light to the nations, and I honestly, I got really excited. I couldn't wait to meet and plug into these powerful people who had been given all the secrets to the universe 3,000 years ago, and I wanted to learn from them. And no judgment at all, but I was in for a very rude awakening. And for me personally, it took me several years of like going into my own deep cocooning process of unlearning and deleting and rebuilding everything I knew. You know, like deleting everything, all those old beliefs that literally defined my identity, and having to start from scratch, build new ones, and all of the emotional trauma that comes along with that, and you know, all of those different pieces, and just completely deleting my mainframe and starting back over to build entirely new belief systems. But as I did that, I was always watching and observing the Jewish community, and specifically looking out for the women and looking for women in particular, these women leaders or these women powerhouses that if you know all the secrets, if you were given all the secrets 3,000 years ago and you've been carrying around with you all this time, where are they? And I was really shocked and disappointed at what I discovered, to be real honest, and no judgment whatsoever, just pure objective observation. And actually it did make me quite sad, because I think what I saw was that Jewish women didn't appear to be any different than all the other women. And to me, that is just a huge travesty. And the only answer is that we as a nation have forgotten our identity. We've forgotten who we are, we've forgotten whose we are, and as a result, we are playing very, very small. So rather than giving into that lie, because that was just not optional for me, I did not give up my whole life and throw away everything I knew to settle for this mediocre identity. And so I embarked on my own quest to get to the bottom of the situation. And I couldn't stop until I had real answers. And I couldn't help anybody around me. You know, like the old airplane example, you know, before you put the mask on the neighbor, you gotta first put the mask on yourself, right? So for the past decade, since Moti and I got married, we have both been relentlessly in pursuit of answers. Because when I met him 13 years ago, I didn't know I was Jewish and he didn't care he was Jewish. So we lived a completely different life than what we live today. But as we started getting to know each other, and then we made a decision to get married, and we were doing, you know, this whole tshuva process together, really digging into what it all means, we were asking ourselves a few questions over and over and over again. Like, why are we as a people living so small? Why are we, you know, why are we settling for this? Is this all there is?
Why we just dream?
Yeah, right? And, you know, do we just blame it on the galut and say, you know, like, ad motai, you know, and just wait to be rescued one day in the future by Mashiach, and until then we just, what, limp
Survivor.
along? Like, you know, is that really a way to live? Or on the flip side, there's the philosophy of if you can't beat them, join them. So, you know, we'll just get, we get sucked into this, honestly, the marketing of the non-Jews. And so we shrink ourselves to play by their rules. Chas v'shalom. God forbid. So when we started really looking into why we seem to be living under so much small-mindedness, it actually makes a lot of sense, because let's think about it. We have been attacked, beaten, oppressed, slaughtered for over 3,000 years, okay? And this obviously gets into a person's psyche, and then this belief system transfers down, and it becomes a generational legacy. So yes, on the outside we say we're believers and sons of believers, but on the inside, what are we actually believing? And you see, there are a couple of, I call them universal laws, okay? Universal laws of nature at play here. Now, later we'll talk about what universal laws really means. But for now, let's just look at these couple of laws, okay? Law number one that we're going to discuss is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples. There was a man who died of hypothermia, unfortunately, he walked himself into a walk-in freezer and got stuck inside, okay? And he was trapped there overnight, and when they found him the next day, there had been a pen and paper in the freezer. There was a whole bunch of stuff in there. There was a pen and paper in there. He wrote a note to his family, and when the people discovered him the next day, the letter to his family was like on his body, okay? The tragedy is that when they discovered him, they also discovered that the freezer had been unplugged. It wasn't even cold
Really?
inside. But because he thought he was freezing to death, he literally developed the symptoms and died of hypothermia.
Oh my God.
Okay, now another example, there is a kid who, when he was a little boy, he was, there's some sort of injury and he got second-degree burns on his body. And he carried this trauma with him all the way through into adulthood, to where he was terrified of hot water, okay? And he grew up, he was, you know, a young adult, he and a group of friends went skiing, and they decided to all go get in the hot tub together at the ski resort. He was not getting in the water because he was, like I said, paranoid, terrified of hot water, so he was just sitting on the side while all of his friends are in the water, and they finally convinced him, I mean, come on, like, we're all in the water. You see that we're not getting burned, come get in. So he gets into the hot tub, starts shrieking freakishly from pain, and jumps back out of the water and literally has second-degree burns on his legs. How? Because he convinced himself to such a degree that he was burning. Now, neither one of these things were true, but again, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. Okay, so this goes back to those stories that we keep telling ourselves over and over and over again that keep recreating our reality. Okay, now the second universal law of nature that's at play here is that the subconscious mind does not know the difference between, there is no such thing as past and future to the subconscious mind. Everything is present. So when we keep telling ourselves one day, we keep living in this perpetual state of lack, of not having. And even the word want, I don't know exactly what the word is in Hebrew, but the English word for want, if you look it up in the original definition in the dictionary, want means for lack of. You don't have something. So the more you obsess about wanting something, the more you're creating this energy of lack, of not having it. Okay? So that is how powerful the subconscious mind is. So the question is, what is the subconscious mind, and how do we reprogram it? How do we transform this situation? So the subconscious mind, the best example I ever heard to explain the subconscious mind is, think of it, it is like the engine room of your entire being. So if you imagine, like, let's say the engine room of a ship, okay, like a cruise ship or any type of ship, but the engine room is probably the dirtiest, messiest, most hectic place, but if it's where every decision is made. So if you imagine you have a captain of a ship versus, say, the engine room. So the captain of the ship sits up in the very sophisticated, beautiful captain's office, and supposedly the captain is the one that charts the course and says, this is where we're going to go. But if the engine room decides something different, then the captain has absolutely no effect on the outcome. Because at the end of the day, it's the guys in the engine room that back in the old days were turning the rudder that are determining where the ship goes. So the difference between the two, our conscious mind is the captain of the ship. We're saying, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm creating. So we say these things with our conscious mind, but then the subconscious mind, which is the engine room, is actually what is making these decisions, okay? So the subconscious mind is a few layers. First of all, it's a collection of all the decisions that your body makes without you having to make a conscious decision. So for example, your heart beating is determined by the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. Your lungs collapsing, expanding, collapsing, expanding, the brain sending messages to your whole body. All that is happening by the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind obviously never sleeps. It remembers everything. There are many, many studies that show, for example, when a kid was, somebody, let's say Zabdi is taking a nap as a little girl. Someone comes and whispers into her ear while she's sleeping in a foreign language. So she doesn't even know that the conversation happened. There have been many studies that have proven. Now she grows up into an adult, and there are ways through hypnosis and other methods of retrieving and her recalling what was said to her in that nap in the foreign language 40 years ago.
And you're gonna remember?
She'll remember. Because the subconscious mind doesn't forget anything. All the way back from in utero. Okay? So the subconscious mind is also what's in control of how we get to work and back, and we don't remember driving there. Okay? Or how when we wake up every morning and we go and we brush our teeth in the same way, we go to the bathroom in the same way, we get our coffee in the same way, and we're like in zombie autopilot mode and we have no idea even what's going on. That's our subconscious mind directing that traffic. Okay? And our subconscious mind is also the storage room of all of our beliefs.
The traumas too.
Yeah. So the trauma takes emotional energy and packs it onto an event, which drives it deeper into our belief systems. And it's that emotion that makes it so strong, right? So if you think of all of those like crazy strong opinions that you have, you don't even know why you have them, but like something just like it triggers you and it makes you so crazy, that is coming from some belief system that you have, some program that was put into your mainframe. Who
Like
knows
from
when?
parents.
Yes, from your parents, from your
Teacher,
childhood.
friends, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now there's one other thing about the subconscious mind that we have to understand. Our beliefs are often passed down through generations. Okay, so we are actually born with a set of beliefs that we never even personally experienced.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So what do we do with this? What do we do with this? How do you have we have beliefs? It's called a collective consciousness or a collective unconsciousness if it's coming from the dark side, from dark energy. So these are things that are passed along to us that are deep in us, and we don't even know where they come from. It's not
Emotions?
because
Emotions, maybe?
emotions.
Emotion?
Sometimes emotions, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
ideas or ways of raising up, like, well, this comes like really back.
Yeah.
Like from the hunter and gatherer, the men go
Yeah.
for food, the woman stay, hunter and gatherer, and you still have it nowadays because it's something you just have it.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about an uphill battle. I mean, this is the human condition. So we are dealing with these things that are driving us.
You need to
that are
recognize it.
dictating us, right?
But
And
you
we
need-
don't even know where they come from.
But you need to recognize it.
Well, and most of us
Yeah.
don't. Most of us are completely asleep to the fact that this is happening and this is what's making us who we are. So, you see, we may be a product of our raising, as we say in Texas, okay? Like a product of our circumstances, right? So, it's true. Our parents, our ancestors, our upbringing, our education, our teachers, our country, our school experiences, okay, all of these things affect how we think and view the world today. Absolutely, no question, okay? But we are still fully responsible for who we become. Now, the crazy thing is how many people go through their entire life without ever even waking up to this
Oh my God.
awareness.
I think most of us.
And that's
97%.
why we continue to pass along this collective unconsciousness, this generational legacy. Okay? So if I live my whole life blaming my parents, my circumstances, my upbringing, my bank account for who I am today,
I'm gonna be the same
I'm
place.
nothing more than a victim.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm completely powerless to affect change. I'm a prisoner in my own body. What a waste. Okay? So, how do I know if I'm living life as a victim? There are 3 major symptoms. Want to know what they are?
What?
Number 1, blaming. As long as I'm blaming anyone, the government, my parents, my spouse, my job, the weather, anything, then I'm giving away my power. I'm just sitting because I'm saying all those things are the reason why, which means I'm completely powerless to affect change. Okay? Second thing is complaining. Complaining is the number 2 symptom of living as a victim. Now, when I say victim, I don't mean that terrible, traumatic things are happening to you. You understand the difference
No, of course.
in the word I'm using here, right? But it's called victim's mentality. So as long as I'm complaining, I'm just sitting over here throwing stones as to what's wrong with my situation, which, of course, what we know now is that it means I'm just creating more of the same energy. This toxic energy is just bubbling around me like a cancer. Okay? And then the third symptom of victim's mentality is justification. Okay? Oh, it's just who I am. It's just my personality. It's just the way I was raised. It's just an excuse for why we haven't done anything about our situation yet. Okay? So blaming, complaining, and justification. If you ever catch yourself, when I first started learning this, I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh my God.
every word out of my mouth. I was like having to start biting my tongue until it was bleeding because I was doing one of these 3 things all the time. And so I kept like having to stop myself over and over and over again. So here's the question. Aren't we tired of living as a passenger seat in our own life?
Oh, yes.
Okay? This is not what we're meant for. This is not what Hashem wants for us. It's not at all. In fact, this is not what Hashem wants for us or from us. Okay? We are meant for a spacious place, and we are buying into this lie, and we are living in a little teeny tiny corner of life. And our sages teach us a few very important truths that are going to serve as the foundation for this weekly shiur. Okay? And we're going to go all over the place with these. Okay? But first and foremost is that we are infinite and limitless. Because we each have a spark of our infinite creator within us. And you cannot be both finite and infinite. So the only reason why we are living with any limits whatsoever is because we are accepting these limits on ourselves and for ourselves. And that belief system that is operating us is keeping us in that lie. Okay? Now, another important truth is that you can recreate yourself and write a whole new story anytime you want. It takes work. It's not easy. It's not like just, we snap our fingers and poof, there it is. It takes a constant work. And if you think of how much those old belief systems are like on auto play in our mind, repeat, 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 repeat all the time. Think about this. On any given day, how many negative thoughts pass through your mind?
A lot.
A lot. All day. Every day. You know why? There's something called the negativity bias. And there's science to this, but basically, even like what Luba was saying just a minute ago, we can have 100 amazing things happen today. And the one negative thing that happens is the one thing we obsess on all day long. So those negative things take up way more space in our brain, and they grow and they grow and they grow because whatever you water grows, right? If you feed it, it grows. And we feed those thoughts over and over and over again, and that's what's happening. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If you can even imagine this, what if you were to know with your whole heart and your whole being that Hashem is waiting to knock your socks off with joy, with abundance, with a fulfilling, rewarding life. Literally sitting there waiting. And each one of us has been sent here, and we agreed to it, you know this. We agreed to this. Each one of us has been sent here with a divine mission. A very specific purpose that no one else can fulfill except for us. You've been sent here at this time in this piece of the universe. Okay? Yeah, we all have a collective job to do, okay? Making a dwelling place for Hashem in this world, whatever that means. Okay? But we each have an individual job, a specific customized role. And the thing is that the Torah has all of these mind-blowing secrets waiting for us. You know, there's nothing new under the sun since Har Sinai, right? Even for those of you that are personal development junkies like I am, everything that's out there in the world in personal development for the last 100 years comes from Kabbalah and Chassidus. Literally all of it. Packaged up in a different way, in different words, and sold to everybody else, and we're chasing around wondering what's going on. So if we will just understand the gift, the heritage, the birthright that we have, the problem is we've not fully understood it until now. Okay? And of course, this is how Hashem designed it. Because he wanted us to have the power of choice. Because if it was very clearly obvious that all the Jews have all the secrets, and we know the formula for life, and this is an easy path, it's a no-brainer. Why would you choose anything else? So it's specifically hidden so that we have to go in search of it, and you get more gifts, more rewards as a result of doing this, right? But guess what? Do you know how many people, the number of people that I've talked to and Moti's talked to, and they say this all the time, like, well, I started doing tshuva and life got harder. The test came more. Why? Because if it were so easy and obvious, there would be no choice, right? It would be a no-brainer. But how does this affect us today as modern Jewish women? Okay, let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love your life right now?
8, 7.
I also want to say it.
Okay, now don't give me some like, oh, Baruch Hashem. Okay. Everything's from Hashem, Kol Tov. Okay, I have a wonderful family. Wah, wah, blah, blah. Okay, I am talking like absolute on fire, full of joy, where you are jumping out of bed every morning, eager to attack and embrace each new day.
Most of the time I jump happy.
Good.
I'm at 8, 7 still.
Good. Okay, so then what you're telling me is from where you're holding right now to your ultimate, most mind-blowing reality is only 2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I feel like that.
Good.
I'm happy. Like, I'm happy with my life. Like,
Amazing, yes.
How much I'm happy.
Amazing.
I
Exactly.
just want my money, more money.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I know in my life that first I decide everything. For example, the place that I came, the friends that
Yeah.
I have, the job that
Yes.
I work, I choose everything.
Yes.
Sometimes I ask myself why I choose this,
Yeah.
but in the end I realize
Yeah.
this is my choice.
Yeah.
So from there, the world is hard
Yeah.
still,
Sure.
but it's my choice.
And we're not talking about that it should be easy, right?
Mhm.
And by the way, that is one of the biggest lies of humanity,
Can I ask you
is that it's
something?
meant to be easy.
I think I'm like a 7.2.
7.2? Okay. Yeah.
I've been having this question
Uh-huh.
long time,
Uh-huh.
okay?
Uh-huh.
And you finally brought it up, so I think you're the person that might be able to answer it.
Oh boy.
It's
we'll
your-
see.
it's your shining
We'll
moment.
see. We'll see.
You ever saw the movie The Secret?
Yeah.
Everybody saw it.
Yeah.
It's basically this.
Yes.
Of course, you are more understandable than the movie because the movie takes forever.
Yeah.
It's basically that. But then I'm always like struggling with also this Jewish fact.
Mhm.
God gives you. I am
Yeah.
obsessed with money. Okay, just for everybody to know, obsessed with it. Like that's my point.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with it.
Okay.
So there was a time God gives you your money, parnasa tova.
Uh-huh.
Everything comes from Hashem. You have the work from Hashem. Hashem makes poor. Hashem makes rich. Some people give tzedakah. Others live from tzedakah. So you always in the situation because in your past life, I also have this amazing book. Everybody should read it. Hacham Anijar wrote it. He's from Israel. Reincarnation, and he also explains of like scientific fact and people in the Torah who came back living. They were somebody then came after being someone else, and all the situation questions you might all have. Amazing book. So I read the book, and so that's why Hashem makes you rich and makes you poor, depending also on how you live your life, what you have to correct, your corrections, your midot, all of it.
Mhm.
But if you're really so able to change your reality, why aren't all rich?
Oh.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's like
That's
you
a
can
very good
change it,
question.
but Hashem gave you your parnasa,
Yeah.
so no.
But what do you consider rich?
Huh?
What is the definition of rich?
There are many considerations. Let's talk about the money.
What is-
Money situation.
No, I'm like out of curiosity. Like, what is rich? You have $1 million, you have $1 billion,
You have
you have $1 trillion, you have
this
a black
amazing, beautiful house with lots of bedrooms. You're able to have plenty of kids because you have a lot of money, and you can travel all around the world. You can give
With all
it
of your
to
kids
everybody
together.
with all your kids, or even in your house, whatever makes you happy,
And the nanny.
and the nanny,
Uh-huh.
and
What else?
help other people, institutions.
אחותי,
Like
אבל בשיא הרצינות.
I don't know what's that.
No, but like I'm saying, like realistically, this is like all of this. It would be a definition of rich.
No, you also have a spiritual rich, and like there are a lot of meanings of being rich. There's people who's wealthy and they're actually poor because they don't have wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's different. Like there are different kinds of rich.
Right.
But
But in this specific example,
It's about
you're
the
talking
money.
about money. Right. Okay.
Okay.
So that's
my
a very,
point.
Okay. It's a very good question, and it comes a lot.
no, so I watch
to-
A Secret. I'm not getting richer, and then you tell me, but also comes from a show. I don't understand.
There's so
Where's my money?
many elements of it. Are you familiar with your financial thermostat?
I'm a good spender. I don't know what happened
Okay,
to my
no,
money.
that's
Just
different.
disappeared. I don't know how.
So financial thermostat means where we are holding energetically with our belief systems around money.
Uh-huh.
I have
Like
bad. I have bad.
So that's what I was trying to get you.
I have bad.
Okay.
Arrange
So
the
that's
system.
so that's a whole. Let's add it to the list, sister. Okay.
I don't
we're
know
gonna-
if I
we're
don't
gonna
have
work on that
money.
one too. Okay.
I'm not gonna say I'm poor because I think that's a state of mind for sure. So I'm not poor.
Yeah.
I'm really rich. I have amazing husband. I have
Yeah.
amazing
I
friends.
love
Like
it.
Yeah.
I have big community. I'm just like I love it. I'm rich.
Yeah.
I feel like a rich
But
person.
you want more cash in the bank. is
But I
what
want
you
more
said.
cash in my
Yeah,
bank.
I hear you.
So I
Definitely.
have like, how can I explain you? So bad raised up situations in money.
Mhm.
But then I don't know how like. You understand my
I
point?
do. Okay,
Now
so
I
I'm
do.
gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on the list, okay, of things that we're gonna have to tackle because clearly,
I'm gonna be
okay, money is the currency that makes the world go round, and the more we make, the more we can give, and it definitely affects the impact that we can make on the world around us. But it goes back to before you put the mask on other people, you've got to first put the mask on yourself. And that's where the financial thermostat comes into play. Okay, so the financial thermostat, just in a nutshell, so we don't get sidetracked, we can do we can spend a whole year just on money, okay? But the thing about financial thermostat, think about a thermostat like in a room, okay? So there is a difference, first of all, between a thermometer and a thermostat. So the thermometer can take the temperature, but it cannot affect the temperature. Whereas a thermostat kicks the temperature up or down, right? So let's say, by way of example, let's say that I have a financial temperature of $30,000. Okay? Now, if I have a temperature of $30,000, what's going to happen? That's my thermostat. Okay, that's where my thermostat is set. So if the thermostat in this room is set on 70 degrees, and we open the windows at night, and the cold air starts coming in.
No matter what you're
okay,
gonna do, it's gonna be the same.
It's going to have to work harder. It's going to kick on, and it's going to work overtime. I'm going to get a big bill. But eventually, this room is going to come back to that state
Same.
of 70 degrees, right?
Mhm.
This is why most people that win the lottery are back to their current state or worse within 7 years, because they received a lot of money without changing their financial thermostat. So if my financial thermostat is set at 30,000, it's going to be impossible for me to earn or keep a recurring amount of 100,000. Now, based on where your personal financial thermostat is, I could have been talking about $30,000 a year, $30,000 a month, $30,000 a day, $30,000 a minute, because that's based on my own thermostat, how I assume someone is even speaking about money. Make sense? Okay, so there's a lot that has to be done there around raising my financial thermostat so that I can strengthen and change my keli, my vessel, to be open to receiving and creating more. Okay, and there's a whole conversation around bitachon
We have to
that
do
goes
that.
with that. Okay, we're just going to talk about bitachon in a second, but sorry. Okay, here's the deal. If we're looking at our amount of joy on a scale of 1 to 10, if we are settling for anything less than, say, a 9, we have a very serious problem. Why would we settle for anything less? Why would we just go to the buffet table of the king and sit on the side and stare? Pull up, we need to pull up a seat. Okay? So we are each sent here for a very finite amount of time, right? To do a very specific mission. And a huge piece of that mission is actually given to us as a commandment in the Torah to serve Hashem with joy. Now that means that we should love our life. And he doesn't say to serve Hashem with mediocrity. It doesn't say serve Hashem with mild complaints. Okay? In fact, because this is a commandment, do you know what that means? Hashem cannot give us a commandment without giving us the ability and the tools to do the job. That means that it's within each one of our power to absolutely love our life. Now, one piece of that is changing our perspective and loving our life fully and completely with every fiber of our being exactly as it is right now. But guess what that does? That actually opens the pathway for you to transform every piece of it where you know you were meant for more. Okay? And that's that walking that tightrope that, do you know that there's been neuroscience shows. So is everyone familiar with energetic frequencies?
Yes.
Energy. Okay? Energy is like music. So there are different tunes, different tones, different tonalities. And gratitude has the same energetic frequency as receiving. So the more that I am grateful, like actively practicing gratitude, creating more things or attracting more things into my life to actually be grateful for. Okay? So if we know that we each have the power to freaking love our life, this life, like not the next one where we start over, okay, but the one that we're in right now that's full of frustrations and conflicts and challenges and problems and obstacles. So here's my question. What do you think if we go on this journey together? Okay, and we embark on this journey to discover, to release, to heal, and transform all of those old, limiting, toxic beliefs and programs that are keeping us stuck and keeping us small. So, do you think that would be something worth investing in?
Yes.
Yeah? So basically what we're talking about here is like bravely exploring life on the other side of truth. Like looking behind the curtain, if you will. Okay, raising the veil. Now, I don't have all the answers. Okay, I am the first to tell you that, and life has given us some pretty tough questions over the last 3,000 years. Okay, like why do bad things happen to good people, and why the Holocaust, and why October 7th? That is not my class. Okay? But what I do know is that I've learned a few key things that have been absolute game changers for me. Okay, first of all, bitachon is as important to your success and joy as the air we breathe. Okay, bitachon, a lot of times it's translated, I learned this only fairly recently, that a lot of times it's translated into English incorrectly. Sometimes people say trust or faith, but what it really, the more accurate word is certainty. Absolute certainty. And a while back, I was introduced to this daily WhatsApp message. It's a 10-minute daily audio that goes out on WhatsApp, and it's on bitachon. It has changed my world. I listen to it every morning, 10 minutes. I'll share it with anybody that wants it. But I can tell you, when I skip even one day, like, and I realize that I'm just like, I'm crummy, I'm crabby, I'm a little bit like more triggered. I feel heavier. I receive things differently. I'm not able to just let things roll off of me. And I'm thinking, what is wrong?
What is
why
meditation?
am I so stressed?
Like meditation?
No, it's not meditation. It's a businessman in New York. He's a high-end jewelry dealer, and somehow he got on the path of bitachon. And 5 years ago, he started doing a shir on the gates of trust, shar bitachon. What's it called? Hovas levavos? Is this what you call it? Anyways, Gates of Trust. It's a book. Okay, thank you.
חובת הלבבות.
Okay. So he started studying it in like layman's, like English that normal people like me could understand. And it is a mind blower, okay? So I listen to that every day, and it literally will make or break the difference in my ability to handle very high stress situations with ease and grace, or with cranky irritability. And just listening to it and the reason I realized finally of why I have to listen to it every day, I mean, it's different every day, it's not the same thing. He's sharing something different every day, but think of how many times those negative thoughts are going through our mind.
Mm-hmm.
I would like so.
So I'm happy to share. It's like putting on armor. It's like totally changing everything of how you approach the day. So if anybody wants it, I'm very, very happy to share. It's a free thing you sign up for, and it just gets delivered to your WhatsApp every day. Okay, that's number one. Bitachon is mission critical. It's like oxygen. Okay. Number two, Hashem has given us mentors and teachers who can help us find the truth. And I know for sure this has been Hasidus for me. Like, if I hadn't been introduced to Judaism through the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, I can't even imagine how different my life would be, because everything around us is a breadcrumb. Everything happens to us or around us, everything we see, everything we hear, everything we experience is a lesson, a breadcrumb, a love letter, either leading us closer to or further away from truth. Now, obviously there's a piece in here, you never want to take advice from someone that you wouldn't want to trade places with, right? So there are a lot of people teaching a lot of things out there, but they're crabby, cranky, miserable people. So why would we want to listen to them? It makes no sense whatsoever, okay? Now, the Baal Shem Tov teaches that every person and every lesson that we experience or that we encounter is a lesson for our internal work. In fact, I used to have this teacher, and she was in Israel, and so I would connect with her on Zoom once a week. And the whole motto of she over and over and over again, she would say, "The work is with me. The work is with me. The work is with me." So, in the end, some people, when you have a really bad experience, like a crummy experience with someone, like poor leadership, or someone manipulates you, or someone lies to you, or takes advantage of you, or whatever the case may be, that is just equally as powerful of a lesson of how not to behave, of how not to treat other people, how we don't want to show up in the world, right? But the thing is that we only get triggered by traits that we carry within us.
Exactly.
Okay? So at the end of every day, we should do a reflection. And I call it an evening review. I do it in every area of my life, business, family, finances, everything. Okay, it takes me about 15 minutes at the end of each day. But one of the things that I'm looking at is, where did I lose it today? Okay, where was I triggered? Where was I irritable? Where did I not show up as my best self? And then I'm able to, now always, my first instinct is blame, always, okay? Well, it wasn't my fault. Oh, they did this. And once I can walk myself through that, pity party, wah, wah, and get down to what's underneath all of that, that's where the growth is waiting. Because everything that's happening is a message for us. And when we stop thinking about the drama and the conflicts and the pain, and we transform that in our mind to a lesson, like a classroom, as soon as we learn the lesson, we graduate. We don't have to keep
Separating from this.
like dog paddling in the sewage. And as soon as we can be willing to open ourselves up to the lesson, it goes away. Okay? So if you've been dealing with something for a long time, there's probably something very deep rooted in there that we have, and it's not our fault. Okay, we have to understand, there's nothing wrong with you. There should be no self-judgment and self-loathing whatsoever, because for some reason there is something that is deep rooted in there that you've got a lot of armor built around. And so what you're experiencing is survival mode. And you're in fight or flight mode perpetually. And that old saying that, when you back a cat into a corner, You know, they come out clawing. And that's what we're experiencing, and that's what we're going through every single day. So when we can just start, are you familiar with the term the observer effect? So when we can rise, like zoom out and zoom above the story, because everything that all of our lessons come with a story, right? So something happening in that particular situation. So the same teacher that I used to have in Israel, and so she knew what's going on this week. So I would start to tell her, and she would kid you not, she would put me on mute, she would walk away, do her thing, come back 10 minutes later, she's like, okay, did you finish the story? Like, get to the root. So I had to work through the story, and then in a 30 seconds, she would be like, okay, so what I hear you saying is, because why? She wasn't emotionally attached to the story. But we're living this story in our mind, right? So, the last piece, the last truth that we're going to focus on. So you remember a minute ago that I mentioned the term negativity bias.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Lubavitcher Rebbe actually is a living, breathing example of positivity bias. So anyone that ever met with him or spoke with him or learned with him, he always had a way of turning things around and finding the good, seeing the good, believing the good, breathing the good. In fact, he has a book that's called Positivity Bias. If I had read that as my first personal growth book ever, like game changer, would have saved me 10 years of headache and heartache. So I highly recommend anybody look it up. I think you can probably get it on Amazon. Doesn't matter what level of observance, religion, it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with religion, okay? But it is a game changer. So the bottom line is we've got to be patient. Okay, we're still cooking. We're still in the oven. And I am such a big believer that as long as we are still here, living and breathing on this planet, there is more to do and more to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yes.
So, like I told you, I don't have all the answers. Okay, and I would never. I am so far from having it. So far from having it all together. Okay, I mess up and I get it wrong more times than I get it right. I'm just a regular gal. Okay, but I am relentlessly passionate about achieving my ultimate potential. I do not want to go down in a pile of potential. I want to lick up and lap up every ounce of power and potential that God has put in my body. And in yours, and in yours, and in yours, and in yours. And we have so much power waiting to light the world. And it's just literally lying there dormant. And nothing fires me up more than trying to figure out how to release all those layers that are covering all that power. So I want to ask you really quickly as we wrap up, if you had a list of topics or things that you would like us to address together every week, what are some of the things that you would like us to tackle in this year?
Like how to find your mission. How do you know what your mission is in life?
How to find your mission, how to discover your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. What else? I've already got the financial thermostat on the list.
Yeah.
How to find what is your rate.
Great. And for our friends that are with us on Facebook, you can type in here, and we'll add those to our list as well.
What more?
Mm-hmm.
Try to think.
How to keep trust when you have like challenges in life.
How to keep trust when you have the challenges.
How do you know that you're in the right road? Like how do you know that you do the right thing?
How do you know you're on the right path?
No, actually you know, because everything is come back to be the same. So
Yeah.
if you do something wrong, it's come back again. The challenges.
Okay. Yes.
So,
yes.
So
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. So
How to
Har
change?
says
Like, how to change?
how to change. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. And so Har says how to get the motivation to work out and take care of your body more. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Sharon says how to get back into your own center. Anything else?
What you said, how to find the perfect balance in life.
Great. What else do you think we need?
What we have until now.
What do we have? Okay, we have how to find perfect balance, which there's no such thing, but we're going to pretend. Okay, how to discover your purpose, financial thermostat, how to find what is your rich, how to keep trust when you face challenges, how to change, how to get motivation to work out and take care of your body, and how to get back into center when you get knocked off center.
Right now I'm good, but I guess that when I was younger, like all this she do him
Yeah.
situation,
Okay,
like where's my she do, happens a lot.
okay. Anything else?
For me, it's like connecting to my Jewish identity and find my shlichut and find like what Hashem wants from me, not what I want.
Yeah.
This and that, just wrap this like sparkle.
Yes.
It's the connection with Hashem.
Okay, I love that. She said how to connect to her Jewish identity and find what is her shlichut, and how to find the sparkle within her of connecting to Hashem.
Yeah.
Right?
Within this inner peace.
Yes,
process.
yes, of course. And she's showing that she is full of peace and
Yeah.
zen and all
Yeah.
the magic inside, right? Okay.
I would love to learn actually more about Judaism and woman empowerment.
Okay. From a Jewish perspective?
Like 100% from
Yeah.
a Jewish
Yes,
Okay.
it's
perspective.
Jewish perspective.
Like-
is very
I understand like the malka babayit,
Yep.
like being a queen in the house,
Yep.
and I understand being a queen at work.
Yeah.
How to like I want to see like the trans
Yeah.
the connectivity, like the sparkle.
So she said Jewish empowerment from a women's perspective. I'm sharing it so our friends on Facebook can hear. Okay.
Also, now that she brought up that, like about raising kids, there's a specific ways of raising kids.
Uh-huh. Yep. Okay.
There are actually books about them.
Yeah.
I just don't remember them.
Okay. Raising kids. And Sahar says, how to earn so much money to donate to Orot. Perfect. I like it. Okay. I think this is a good start. What do
Yes.
y'all think?
Amazing.
Yeah? Look, and it is 9 o'clock on the nose. And like we said, we're going to be on Arizona time, not Jewish Standard Time. So we are going to wrap up right this minute and say,
Thank you.
Thank you.
well, no, I was going to say, Mazel Tov. We started.